When I started my business in 2014, I felt like I had all the skill sets needed to succeed. I knew my craft well, I could do the books a little bit, and I knew how to code a website up. But it wasn't until a few years down the track I realized that I couldn't rest on my laurels. I actually had to have more skills than just what I started out with. And that either came in two formats: hiring other people and bringing other people on board the team, or choosing to upskill myself. Now, when starting out, I didn't have the resources to have other team members aboard. I financially couldn't afford it, and I had to really learn quickly. I had to suck it up, become a self-autonomous learner, and push outside of my usual boundary of what I felt was normal. I learned a lot of skills. I learned a lot of fucking skills. I learned project management skills, financial planning skills, content marketing, video editing, copywriting, time management, brand strategy, and much, much more. So that's why I'm bringing this to you today. 7 to 8 years on since setting up my business, I feel like I can be confident and comfortable in sharing how I've learned to be a self-autonomous learner, collect information, research topics, and come to my own conclusions on how I can implement new skills which I'm learning about. So let's get on to how I research. The internet is full of resources. There's just so much information available. It's really hard to dilute down what is actually applicable to yourself. Like, actually take the core essence of all this information and turn it into something that's usable in your everyday life. So what I make it a task of me to do is to find a minimum of 3 completely different types of sources on any new topic I'm trying to learn about, whether it be project management or something in the financial sector or something to do with marketing. I always try and find 3 very different sources, whether it be, let's say, a video, an article, and maybe a podcast. 3 different sources from different people in different parts of the industry. It's really important to just get diversity in the information you're collecting up front when you're trying to learn something new. And sometimes this can even mean something as simple as sending out somebody an email and teeing up a Zoom call, teeing up some time just to have a chat with them or meet up for a coffee. It can really help get a good collective and comprehensive picture of any new topic you're trying to learn about, to just have a variety in the source information you're pulling from. When I'm taking notes on this research, I'm using an application called Roam Research. I can go into a full another video to the extent of how I use this, but if you want to just save some time, head over to Thomas Frank's channel. He's got a great video on how he uses Roam Research to collect notes, and it's pretty much how I do it. For me, the simple thing with Roam Research is that I can take notes on separate pages and tag key components between each note, and then between all my notes I collect on any given topic or across all my notes, it will actually mind map all the correlating information between different points of research, which for me is like mind-blowing. Once I've collated all my notes, I've went to 3 or more resources, all from varying in different places. I then go over to my research board template, which I have set up in Notion, and you can download this template in the comments section below. I developed this research board template from a whiteboard session with Chris Do from the future, and there's a link to that whiteboard session in the description as well. Basically, I list out my sources or my resources that I use to research. I leave links to the Roam Research board if I ever have to go back and reference any of the notes after I've completed this, and then I also keep links to the source if I need to rewatch or reread or reconnect with whatever that inspiration source was. Having all those sources laid out is really important, and having variety is really important, because then we get to become a little bit scientific about this. We get to go, what information here is correlating? And that's really important. We list all the bits of information between the various sources which correlate with one another. Secondly, we can look at some of the information that is conflicting, because not everybody even in the same profession with the same agreed upon standards are going to see things in the exact same frame. And it's really important we identify things that conflict between source material just as much as we observe things that correlate. And finally, in this 3rd column here, evidence given is where you can actually put forward any evidence given for correlating or conflicting information. And it's really important that we start to look at this a little bit more critically. We start to analyze our research a little bit more deeply to understand what is bias, what is people's perspective and experience, and what is hard factual data and agreed upon standards in any field or any topic we're researching. Then once we have this laid out, it's really important we take this information and make it actionable. Research, knowledge, being book studied only accounts for a small part. Actually applying it into our everyday lives, especially as a business owner, is really important. So then on the output of my template, I always ask myself these 3 questions whenever I'm wrapping up my research. Firstly, what was most important to me? Of all the research, of all the information which correlated with one another, of the information that conflicted with one another, and some of the evidence I gathered, what was most important to me? What is going to be most applicable to me as a business operator? And secondly, I like to ask myself, how might I apply this in my work? How can I take this information and implement it into my work routine or what I'm trying to solve at any given time? How can I actionably do that? And thirdly, what are my observations of the information? And I like this one, even though we've got observations of the information in general between our notes and our correlating conflicting information, I like to write tertiary notes here, things that didn't come up or didn't surface in the process of taking notes on other people's resources or correlating or conflicting information. I like to just have observations listed there. So if I want to revisit this research board, I can get back into my mindset really quickly about the information I was consuming at the time. And finally, on this research board template, one of the best ways to learn is to teach. When you teach something, it allows you to look at it more critically, be more conscious of how it impacts others, and actually makes you sometimes even reassess how well you know something or if what you know is actually true and verifiable. And I do that in a few ways. I don't really write a tweet anymore because I don't use Twitter, but sometimes I will share a post on Instagram, and I do that very often, especially in the audio world, where I find new discoveries or I learn something new and I try to share that with the world. Lastly, you can design something, perform something, create a YouTube video like this, because this YouTube video is me doing something with the information I learned about how to learn and what I've developed in learning. So it's like very meta in that sense. But that said, I hope this helps you. It's a very simple system which works well for me. And if you did like this, hit the like button, share this with other people, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take care.